Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a 2-hour art challenge. Well, the idea was to try to make it 2 hours, but unfortunately it took me closer to 4 hours to get it all complete. I'm starting with the thumbnailing stage, just trying to get a pose for the character that I can work with. I gave myself 10 minutes to come up with an idea for a sketch. So I'm just working out some simple poses, trying to find one that I like that I can work with going forward. After I get through the thumbnail stage, the idea was to do 25 minutes of sketching, 25 minutes of line art, 30 minutes of base coloring, and 30 minutes of shading. But it quickly got out of hand, and I grossly underestimated how much time that it would take. So here I am starting with the undersketch. I had chosen one from the thumbnail that I had liked. The character was going to be holding his neck and looking at the camera. I'm not looking at reference for this one. A lot of artists suggest that you should look at reference, but I didn't have access to reference, so and also, don't really have reference for those types of legs, so it's a lot of using memory from animal studies that I've done in the past. So I'm just going over with the sketching phase, not trying to be too concerned about how perfect it is. I'm using the move tool to shift some stuff around. I'm using Procreate, by the way. I don't hate Sketch, but I don't love it either. I was really trying to stay within my time constraints, because I had given myself 25 minutes to do the sketch, and I was able to maintain those boundaries. So I started to move into the ink stage, and inking is always difficult for me because typically I wasn't ever happy with the underdrawing sketch, but I said no, you give yourself 25 minutes for the line art, so stick to it. So I started to work on the line art, and what's amusing is I wasn't even halfway done with the line art when I ran out of time, so I actually had to add another 15 minutes so I could finish the lower body. I'm a bit upset viewing it afterwards, knowing that the video footage is a bit pixelated, which it didn't look like when I was doing the art, and when we get to the end, you'll see a final edit, and hopefully it'll be a lot clearer. Because I did spend a lot of time trying to get these lines nice and clean looking, because I wanted to look similar to the way anime is colored and drawn, because they have some really clean line art. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out exactly how they do it, but it's mostly about shape language, which is something that I'm going to have to practice on. So it was about here when I ran out of time. Excuse me while I take a sip of my coffee. But with inking, I always struggle because I feel like I lose a lot of energy and it gets stiffer, but I seem to have been getting slightly better at it in recent times. I was trying to be way less precious about lines, or at least about my work in general, trying to prioritize how much time that I have to do it, and not what is the saying? Don't let perfection be the enemy of, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And I think that's an important lesson to try to live by. While I was doing this, was actually watching Secret Sleepover Society, and if you haven't heard of them, go check them out. They do video game streaming, and they were playing this one game called, what was it? I forget, but basically you date your furniture, which sounds like an odd prompt, but all of the furniture and items in the house were given avatars or gajinkas. So moving on into the coloring phase, I blocked in, all the base colors, starting with like a red. I don't get to color as much as I'd like to because I usually get stuck in the sketching phase. So I'm trying to keep it fast and loose, trying to, I'm cleaning it up now, but trying to be efficient with time, trying to work big to small. Which is something that I learned from some other people. So just trying to get his socks and his gloves in there, getting a couple of piercings, trying to get this fur texture in. But I made a mistake here because I put it on the wrong layer, but I'm glad that I figured it out sooner rather than later because, if you've been there and you've spent like hours working on the wrong layer, it's always a nightmare. So overall, I don't love this one, but I don't hate it either, especially compared to the work that I haven't been completing. Being able to like actually complete something is a pretty big achievement for me, especially with the amount of like stress and stuff that I'm dealing with. To be able to like make art at all is kind of a feat. So can't really see it too much, but really got in there with the eyes. Changing the base to the tail color because it's further away from the camera, so I wanted to give it darker to try to make it recede a little bit. So here it is with pretty much just the flat. And am I still working? I went to go take a break. I don't know, I ran out of time. Okay, now I'm starting with some shading. So after I put the base colors in, I put another color down, and then I just erased some of the highlights away from it to reveal the base color that was originally there, to try to give it the illusion of like rim lighting, try to give it some depth, try to give it some pop. It's a bit tedious, but I don't especially mind it. But what really sent me like starting to do this challenge was, well, originally I was doing 1 hour time control drawings where I would do 10 minutes of thumbnailing, 25 minutes of sketching, and 25 minutes of coloring. And I got some decent stuff done. So I wanted to try to do a 2-hour challenge, but because I was like way behind schedule, it became 4 hours. But I'm looking at like all of these other artists online that are like doing commission work and stuff, and I'm just like, I look at their work and they are so much better than me. They're so much more talented than me, and not because I'm like feeling inferior or anything. I'm just like stating it as a fact. I can tell that they're better than me, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point is, they sell their work for dirt cheap. They'll do like fully rendered headshots for like $5, and I'm just like, I can't get McDonald's for lunch for that much, and they'll sell like $15 like full body shots, and I'm just like, it took me 4 hours to do this, 4 hours for $15. That's not minimum wage at all, you know? Just like, am I to believe that they just work so much more faster than, more quickly than me? You know, it's just like, well, how many, like, you know, drawings do I have to do to try to, like, you know, support myself financially? And it's just like, you know, based on those metrics, I definitely could not do it, you know? So I'm hoping that, you know, posting my art videos on YouTube might eventually make up for the difference. Getting those highlights in there, trying to make it pop. And like, yeah. Like, I don't know, dude. Art is hard, you know? But to be honest with you, based on, you know, some of my other analytics and metrics, I expect that, you know, I'm going to post this thing. It's not going to get any recognition, really. But I'm going to try anyway, because I don't know when to quit. It is a shame that the footage is a bit pixelated, though. Can somewhat see what's going on, you know. I wanted to do a long form video, but I didn't think that many people would be too interested in staying tuned for that long. And so here is the final image. I think it came out pretty good. Thank you for tuning in. I will catch you in the next one. Later.